What is up, heisters? Noli here, and welcome to the Payday 2 archive. In this series, I'm going to be taking a look at every single heist within this game, going down from top to bottom, starting off with Bane's heist list. We're starting off with the bank heists, all of them, the cash, the deposit, and the gold. So every single one of these are going to be covered in this video. I'm going to show you how best to do this on every difficulty, most specifically Death Wish. I'm going to show you how to solo stealth it on this difficulty and give you tips and tricks wherever possible, and fully explain how this map itself works. Let's kick this off by taking a look at the 6 main skills that are going to assist you within this mission. Most of them are quite self-explanatory. We have the transporter and portable saw out of the enforcer tree, the silent drilling and shape charge out of the technician tree, and the ECM overdrive and fast hands out of the ghost tree. So these are primarily set up to assist you with the moving of the bags, through getting through the first vault, which of course you have to drill through, so the drilling skills are always very useful for this mission specifically, and then going through the secondary gate, which there sometimes is. The ECM overdrive is more aimed for breaking through the door to get rid of the cameras. That's most useful on the Death Wish difficulty, and of course ECMs are always useful to take out the tellers and the final guard. I'm showcasing 4 of the most diverse and effective equipment and weapon sets for this heist. The idea is they cover different styles of play and, in fact, different situations in some cases. I'll talk you through the weapons and why I've chosen to use them one by one. Up first, we have the group single shot rifle set. It's made up of the Falcon rifle, the Deagle pistol, the telescopic baton, the combined tactical vest, and the C4. The Falcon rifle is a real standout weapon for this. It's got some really good range, and when used alongside some of the technician and mastermind skills, hence you're using the pistol secondary, you can be a pretty nifty team player with a self-revive. The C4 is to help you get through the final gate after blowing open the vault, and the telescopic baton has quickly become my favourite melee weapon for in-combat missions. Up next we have the Death Wish rifle set. It consists of the Thanatos 50 cal, the Street Sweeper shotgun, the telescopic baton, the lightweight ballistic vest, and the ammo bag. You're running this sniper primarily because Death Wish equals bulldozers, and bulldozers are the things that will destroy your Death Wish chances. I run the Thanatos because I feel like it's just straight up the best weapon against bulldozers. The Street Sweeper with the flechette can be really strong and can take enemies out very easily, even from the roof. Telescopic baton for the same reason I said before. Lightweight ballistic because you often don't find yourself being hit that often when you're sniping from distance, and so this thing can just allow you a little more mobility to move around the map. Ammo bag because damn, that Thanatos needs a lot of ammo. Moving on to the stealth sets, we have the contingency stealth build. All you need for this one is the K4 rifle, the Swedish case submachine gun, the survival tomahawk, the ballistic vest, and the ECM jammer. Now, the reason I called this the contingency plan is because even if you fail stealth, the idea is you still have a reasonable chance of completion with this specific set. It has the damage and the survivability. Now, you bring the K4 and the Swedish K because it's going to drop your detection rate down to 3, which is the lowest it can go, despite running the ballistic vest, which is actually a slightly heavier armor than the usual 2-piece suit or lightweight ballistic vest you'll be running to get bottom detection rate. I run the survival tomahawk because, well, you may as well just choose the best melee weapon for you, the one you enjoy the most when you don't intend to go loud, but I think the survival tomahawk offers the best option with the highest uncharged damage, especially as a contingency weapon. ECM jammer is because you are still trying to stealth this, and if possible you want to get those cameras out immediately. Last but not least, we have the versatile stealth set. And it's not versatile in its ability to take on enemies, it's versatile in that it can face anything that bank heist stealth throws at you. So a combination of the over 9000 saw, the Swedish case submachine gun, any melee weapon of choice, the 2-piece suit, and the ECM jammer will allow you to focus on everything, every activity thrown at you by any of the variants of the bank heist. So the over 9000 saw is the real key to this. Despite it not offering a particularly high concealment value, it is useful in that it can first of all break through deposit boxes, whether you're doing the deposit heist or not, and it can break through the gate after the vault. The Swedish K is going to reduce your detection rate as low as you possibly can, and again, as I said, any melee weapon works. You're probably not going to be stabbing anybody. The two-piece suit is, again, for the same reason as the Swedish K, designed to lower your detection as low as possible. Basically, failing stealth is not an option. The ECM jammer, again, is to get you through that first door and allow you to take out the tellers. The sort is perfect, despite the fact your detection rate is 10, which is 7 more than you would have otherwise if you ran my previous stealth set. I actually prefer this set just because it gives you more chance of being able to break straight through to the vault and save that, 2 extra minutes and possible time in which you can mess up the stealth.
My guy stashed the thermal drill for the bank vault in the parking lot, so get that first. Watch for guards. Keep an eye out for cameras. Where there's cameras, there's usually a security room. Money time.
Okay, so as far as your starting route within this mission is concerned, you're often, if you spawn specifically on this side and want to stealth it, going to want to blow your way through this lock, or you can just lockpick it, or you can just miss the lock completely a few times, as I did then. Now your first priority is going to be to get in and turn the cameras off, specifically on Death Wish where you can't shoot out cameras. I get extremely lucky here taking out both the manager and this first guard. You can often take him out in this corner, but be aware, people leaning on the ATMs can sometimes see it. Check them out first. I got lucky here first time, and I'm just going to roll with it. Remember, bagging corpses is immensely important on this mission because you're going to have to kill enemies slightly out of place. There is one place where I tend to hide the corpses and they're never found. You'll notice me move to there a little bit later on. Picking back up at this dark corner, this is where I hide the body bags. A civilian has never walked that far that I can remember, so they are perfectly safe in that corner. You now want to think about trying to move the drill near to the vault. You can actually start drilling before you take all the guards off the map, especially if you're running silent drilling, so definitely think about doing that. But I'm just going to tag all the guards on my map simply because it's going to allow me to walk around with a little more ease, and the second I see one of those red outlines go somewhere I can kill them, I'll move to do exactly that. Looking as we walk over here at my assets, I'm going to pick up a body bag. The assets aren't that important on this mission. There's one thing that I feel I missed. Ammo bag would have allowed me to use my saw a lot more, and if you're using that build, you should definitely think about bringing the ammo bag along with you and getting a few more of those deposit boxes open. I think this window roof is worthy of mention. You definitely have to be cautious, especially if you're running this set and have 10 detection rate. You can be caught very easily, even walking over that roof. Whatever you do, make sure you go around it, and even then, try and stay crouched and be very careful no one is facing its direction. As far as opening doors is concerned, there are no doors that you want to keep closed for any reason unless you think you may be going loud. They can slow down the police very slightly. So you want to create the widest routes around this map. It's a very flowing map, and you want to be able to come in from any side to take out guards when they misplace themselves. Next, either using your ECM with the overdrive skill, or the keycard you picked up earlier in the mission if you were lucky like I was, to find the bank manager, take out this security guard. You'll take out all of the security cameras with it. That means even the Titan cameras are worthless. They are the bane of this mission beforehand, so make sure to do this without doing much else. I choose to bag his corpse just to be safe. It is possible that he can be spotted unless you kill him in a specific way where you launch him up on the desk. Always be safe rather than sorry. And you can always pick up a couple more body bags. You don't need the full set as long as you picked up the asset. Remember, hide them in this dark corner to avoid detection. When it comes to moving on the main room itself, always enter from this way. Take out the civilians that would spot you otherwise, and unfortunately if you're doing this on Death Wish, you are most likely going to have to kill people, and it will hurt your financial situation, but it's basically the only solution that I could work out. If you shoot the civilians in a certain way, they'll often fall amongst the desks, and the dividers will keep them out of sight of guards unless you do it directly in front of them. That way you can move your way through the room, taking out civilians when you need to, and slowly clear the entire bank. You're going to have to wait, unfortunately, until the guards are in the right position before you can take them out. But be aware they most likely won't notice civilians if you kill them in the right way, so you're going to have to take a little bit longer for the guard to finally notice, be surprised, and then use that time to take him out. So once you know that the guards are in a certain position where they're not going to spot a civilian anytime soon, you can run around the back and obtain the thermal drill. You can start the drilling process sooner and therefore finish the mission sooner. This is more of a time save than anything, but will only work if you have the silent drilling skill. As it happens here, a guard finally spots a civilian, which is perfect for me. He's just where I want him to be to take him out. No one's going to spot him. I know the other guard won't be patrolling the same area, and he's a free and easy kill. No point bagging this corpse either. I don't believe I do. No, I just go back and set up the drill to start the timer going. With just one guard left remaining on the map, it's time to set up your ECM jammer, run through and make sure you take out the tellers. Later on in the video I'm going to show you the 3 spots of the panic buttons, and they are what you need to keep guarded. Get all the civilians down as soon as possible and assert the location of the last guard. You can take him out at any time because remember the ECM jammer will stop his pager from going off. The only problem with this is the possibility of an outdoor civilian running away. I saw this guy sit on the bench earlier on in the mission, and I'm able to take him out quite easily. I actually thought that guard was dead and have to come back to clean him up. Make sure everyone's on the ground before you answer the pager, so that there's no one running off and possibly escaping the map in order to phone the police. Now for the ruthlessness. You have to take out all the civilians that you do not have the cable ties to tie down. I don't actually have the cable tie skill, so I only have 2. Otherwise, you can save a lot of money by bringing along the cable tie skill. You don't want civilians alive on this mission that you can't tie, because occasionally you have to leave them to mess around in the vault, and if you're not guarding them, the chances are they'll either call the police, and while you may see that symbol within your HUD, you probably don't have the speed without an ECM jammer to take them out in time. So take out civilians, leave the map walkers, they won't cause a problem just as long as you haven't been smashing glass. Always make sure as you take out the civilians you're cautious with where you fire the bullets. Smashing glass has been one of the most frequent reasons why I've failed the mission. Now all you have to do is wait. I hope you've brought along the drilling skills, because otherwise you're in for the long haul, and especially if you haven't brought the SOAR or C4, you could have a whole extra gate to be going through. During that time I'm going to show you what I do to kick back and relax, show you the places of some of the additional loot within this map, so sit back and enjoy the intermission, I suppose, of my bank heist. The majority of the additional loot found within this heist is located within the vault itself inside deposit box, but if you've got the tendency to explore, you'll find some wads of cash on this manager's desk, and often inside this room you'll also find a safe. The loot inside this safe seems to be exactly the same as what you can find within deposit boxes, so overall it's just a harder thing to break into, but it's still additional loot, no two ways about it. So as far as the Gauge courier mod locations, the 2 primary places you're going to want to search are under the desks within the bank itself and around the corridors and dustbins outside. So you finally drilled your way into the vault, and the door stands in your way. You try and put the drill on that as well, and you notice it's going to take almost the exact same amount of time, even though it's a little metal gate. Well, fortunately, the SOAR or C4 is here to save the day, and that's why I advise you bring along either of them, even on a stealth build. Be aware though, whenever you do that, whenever you either blow up C4 or use the SOAR, for whatever reason, the SOAR alerts everybody on the map. You have to be prepared, either check that there are no walkers outside, or be aware and remember to save an ECM just in case, because otherwise they're going to call the police far too quickly and you won't be able to get over to them in time. The biggest fear is them running out the map. They can still call the police then. You have to be quick and aware. Finally, we're into the money. I'm going to bag that using my transportation skills, and we'll start moving them around to the van itself. Once you've transported at least one bag over to the van and thrown it in, you can leave immediately. You only need one bag, and this is perfect if you're just trying to obtain the Death Wish achievement, but if you actually want some good cash from completing this mission, I advise you go back and make the most out of your bags. Be aware though, at this stage in the mission, there is no chance of you failing really. It's similar to some of the old style Payday missions, where once you've sort of neutralized all the guards and civilians, you're free to do whatever you want on that map forever. So keep that in mind and take your time. You can open all the deposit boxes if you think that is a good use of your time. It probably only is if you have the ghost skill that increases the loot value. Otherwise, I advise you move the bags that you've obtained and get ready to leave in the van. So let's look at the deposit boxes. Are they worth looting? Well, first of all, it depends on whether you have your saw or not. The saw really makes short work of these, and as long as you're aiming properly, you can really break through these very quickly and obtain some fast loot. If you remember to bring ammo with you, or if you had the luxury to not just buy the asset, but also bring along your own, the saw's really going to break through a vast majority of these. And if you're playing co-op, remember, bringing saws, you can break through all of these very quickly within a minute and obtain quite a decent quantity of loot. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. Going through it on your own, once you run out of saw durability, as I have, it's a 10-second long lockpick, which just is not worth it unless you're immensely lucky and you keep drawing the more expensive items. As far as the more expensive items are concerned, you can find things such as stacks of money and stacks of gold. I do actually find one of both eventually after breaking through quite a lot of these. You can also find rings, necklaces, medals, actual wads of money, and finally you can find just single gold bars. They are the different increments of money you can obtain just as instant cash, which doesn't go through your offshore. I believe that's how it works. You just get that immediately into your payable bank account. So that is the deposit boxes. Whether or not it's worth it or not should basically be based on how quickly you think you can make money otherwise, or whether or not you have enough saws. Finally, to show you the little intricacies of the map that I didn't otherwise show in the gameplay, first of all, you can see the extra panic button on Death Wish, the location of the teller's panic buttons. On top of that, you have the additional keycard location. If the bank manager doesn't have it, it's most likely sitting on his desk. There is the vantage point and the zip line, also showing off how planks work. Just to talk briefly about the vantage point, it's actually one of the stronger ones. It's got a 180-degree view of the bank, and on top of that, the zip line actually drops you off right on top of the roof, which is actually quite a safe place to be compared to the other zip lines, which are often quite ineffectual and you'll just die on your way down. Finally, there is the bandit barrier that you can open and close. When the tellers press the panic button, the bandit barrier will close. It can be used to stop enemies shooting you from the side and create a sort of one-way camping place if you leave one of the doors closed. Or you can open it back up if you like to shoot out of the teller area and onto the enemies outside. So it gives you some options. Most of these options are if you're going loud immediately. Otherwise, if you're stealthing it, you won't have to mess around with these other than possibly the panic button. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed. Of course, you'll see the rewards. That is the final section that you're going to look at, and some might think it's the most important. See you guys then. So the final question we ask ourselves on the mission as we run off into the van is, how well does it pay? Well, not too badly at all, especially if you have some luck with deposit boxes, and if you do the gold heist, which is essentially the same difficulty but just involves you carrying slightly heavier bundles. You'll get even more money. It's just under 1.25 million in the offshore and just over 300,000 in your spending cash. Really not too bad for what is probably 15 minutes work if you're efficient. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one.